Hello friends, in today's video I intend to offer you the tips about how to face the immigration officer at port of entry. In the last few days, many instances have been reported whereby the students entering Canada were denied the study permits and they were deported from the airport itself. And the major reason for these for denial of the entry or a study permit appeared to be the vague responses given by the students with respect to the second year tuition fee payments. And today in this video, I'll tell you about how can we handle such situations or how to face immigration officers at the entry checkpoints at the airports. And the first thing that I would start with is the documents that you need to carry along with you during your journey or during your travel to Canada. The list of documents that include, first of all, the original academics. The students must carry all the original documents and along with them a copy of those documents starting from 10th onwards. Along with academics, they also need to take the IELTS TRF or the evidences of their English proficiency test. For example, in case of IELTS, they can take the test report forms issued by the IDP or the British Councils. And for online tests like PTE and TOEFL, along with the printout of those test results, they also need to keep those login IDs and passwords handy as they may be asked by the immigration officers. Then they need to carry the approval letter that has been issued after the study permit has been granted or if their application after their applications have been approved by the high commissions. And along with the approval letter, the students also need to carry the letter of acceptance issued by the education institutions, and mind that these letter of acceptance should be unconditional ones and not the conditional one. And the tuition fee receipts, that is payments that you have made to the institution. And though it is not along with this, they also need to carry the GIC receipts, that is the guaranteed income certificate issued by either the Nova Scotia or the ICC Bank, wherever the student hold the GIC account. Then comes the CAQ. This is required only for the students who are going to Quebec or whose institutions are situated in the Quebec region. And though it is not mandatory, but it has been often observed that the immigration officers often claim that the tuition fees submitted by the students are not genuine. In such situations, if they have the TD copies or bank statements, or in case they have transferred the payments through the flywire, then the receipts of those flywire mails along with them, so these documents could help them to substantiate their claims about the genuine payments towards the tuition fee or also the GIC. And one of the major thing that is nowadays being asked about the funding with respect to their remaining tuition fees and living expenses. Majority of the students nowadays entering Canada have already paid 1 year tuition fee as well as the living expenses in the form of GIC. But the immigrations have started asking about the second year's living expenses and the second year's tuition fees. And in such situations, I think the students need to have a proper plan and they must be well prepared to answer these questions, as they can the documents that they can carry in support of their next year's fee payments could be the savings that their parents have, and these savings could be in the form of saving bank accounts or balances in the fixed deposits, mutual funds, or shares. But avoid taking LIC policies or the provident funds that are to be given only at the time of retirement or maturity, as they may not be the right documents to be produced uh, if they are not immediately available uh, for the expenses to be borne by the students. And birth certificate, though, is not a mandatory document, but in some cubic institutions ask for. So just check with the institution if it is required, though the immigration officers may not ask for this particular document. Now, further moving on to the questions, as at the airport, the immigration officers might ask a number of questions, and though they might appear to be casual questions, but based upon your these responses, they can deny the entry. They have the right to do so. And the things that the students must be prepared uh, before going to the immigration officer for the immigration check is the institution, and the information about institution is what is the name, though most of the people are aware of. Then location, where it is situated. This is the question that they might ask. You may not be you may not have to by heart the location of the institution, but yes, you must know where some the tentative locality where it is situated. And apart from that, the thing that you must be aware of is the course. What course you're going to go for? What is the duration of this course? How much is the tuition fee? How much has been paid? And what amount is left? Then reasons for choosing this course and institution. Do not say that your agent or a consultant has selected the course for you. Being a student, it is the duty of the student to do the research and not of the consultant. Yes, you could say that consult this is one of the institution or the course suggested by your education advisor or education consultant, but you cannot say that this was the only option given to you. And you must demonstrate that you have done a thorough research before you have selected this particular institution, and this course is related to your previous studies or is going to help you realize your future dream about your future plans or the dreams that you have. And yes, again, the outcomes, if you have done a thorough research, then the immigration officer might expect you to know the what outcomes or what skills you will gain from this particular course, and what kind of job opportunities you could have on completion of this particular course. And then comes the about the arrival, that if someone has come to pick you up, or if any travel arrangements have been made. For example, if your college has been requested, or if your friend or relative is waiting outside the airport, then you must be prepared, and you need to be truthful for answering these questions. If someone is there, then tell them, and if it is not, just let them know that you're going to hire a taxi and do like go to the place where wherever you're planning to. And yes, the most important is accommodation arrangements. Even if it is a hotel or some kind of a lodge, the booking should always be made in advance, and you must be sure of the location where you are going. It could be a relative's house, a friend's apartment, or a hostel, but these arrangements should be made before you depart from India to Canada, and arrangements should not be, you cannot say that on reaching you would try to search for those things. Then plans after graduation, whether the primary objective is to know the answer whether you are planning to stay here forever or you're planning to return after graduation. Now, in though you may have a plan to stay over there, but you should not reveal these plans, and you should always be diplomatic in your answers. You should not straight away say that no, I will go back. You should say that I have not decided about this issue as of now. Right now, I'm come here only for the studies and intend to go back. And yeah, but before leaving, I would definitely like to basically get some hands-on experience before leaving for my home country. And answer to this, as we discussed earlier, that how would you manage your unpaid tuition fee and living expenses? Never say that you're going to work. Your primary objective of your primary purpose of applying for a student study permit was just studies, and say that yes, you're going to study and your parents or your guardians are going to take care of that. Yes, you would definitely like to try to work for some time that is legally allowed to you, but the objective is just to gain some experience, and it will not happen at the cost of your studies. And in fact, it should not also. You should always give your priority to the studies, and the your employment earning should be always the secondary. Now, in case if you have feel that you've got stuck in the unforced circumstances, how to deal with that? First thing is never get panic. The more panic you would be, then the more grilling would take place in the hands of immigration officers. Keep your consultants informed of your arrival in Canada well before your departure. This is really very helpful as if you get stuck, your primary contact point would be your education advisor or a consultant who has submitted the file on your behalf to the High Commission, or who has helped you get that visa. And he may have access to some of the records that you might have forgotten or may not have been in a position to answer to the immigration. So in such a situation, you can ask for those documents immediately from uh, the your consultant. Then keep an emergency contact person and number of the education institution you're going to attend handy. As after, especially after there's a few instances that are reported whereby the students have been denied entry, some institutions have set up their emergency contact persons and even hired the lawyers to help them with. And those they have already circulated those contact details with their agents, with the student partners, and you could ask for those contact details from your education advisor or from the college itself. These things, sometimes these are also available on the websites of the institutions. Then plan your journey in such a way that you arrive in Canada during the working hours. This is very helpful that in case you have landed in Canada after the working hours and the college or the education institution is closed, you may not be able to seek their responses on the immediate basis, and you may have to wait for the next working day. So this waiting could be quite annoying, and it could be quite dreadful also. So it's advisable that you should plan your journey in such a way that you arrive during the working hours in Canada. And the most important thing is you must communicate with the immigration officer confidently, and that too in English only. Un- Understand the questions of the immigration officer and respond them adequately. Keep your responses to the point. Do not speak more and do not provide any information that has not been asked for. And yes, try to be polite. Don't argue with them. And all answer all the questions truthfully. Do not misrepresent or mislead. Uh, they have been trained to detect your lies. So do not try to misrepresent or mislead them. This is very important. Be truthful. Answer your questions very truthfully. That's all for the this video, and hope that this video would have given you adequate insight into what to expect and how to prepare for your travel. Wish you a happy journey and all the best for the greener pastures. Thank you.